United States of America. We're going to take a look at this and other issues of national interest. Meet our guest in some few seconds. We are with our guest coming to us from the United States of America. He was in the U.S. for some months and he just came back into the country. We're going to be looking at the issue of Cameroonians who have been deported from the United States of America. Over 100 or close to 100 of them, over 81, arrived at the country this week through the Douala International Airport. Meet our guest. His Royal Majesty King Michael, traditional leader in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, an entrepreneur and chief executive officer of Chariot Company Limited, is our guest today. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Babila.
All right, you just came back into the country from the United States of America, a country that has recently deported close to 100 Cameroonians back into the country.
Yes, I think after the last municipal and legislative elections, I had to take a little step backwards to have a cool head and get a rest after 7 years of hard work as the mayor of Moyoka. So I went back to the United States, and after 6 months, I came back since I'm a businessman in Cameroon. So I will always be navigating between the United States and Cameroon.
Where you do carry on with some of your business activities. We'll be coming back to you in a short while. Time for us to take a look at the legal side of the deportation of close to 100 Cameroonians from the United States of America. Some of them, of course, the ones who have already been deported arrived at the country through the Douala International Airport earlier this week. There are over 81 of them, and we caught up with a human rights defender, an attorney and counselor at law in New York, United States of America. He's also specialized in United States immigration law. Barrister Aneneba Akufo Innocent. Take a listen to him.
Mr. Babila, again, once again, thank you so much for having me on Équinoxe TV, which is a voice for the people. Sad day for the United States. This is a sad day for Cameroon, and this is a sad day for the United Nations itself. Something that they had premised since 1951 when they got the Convention for Refugees and its attendant protocols in 1967, never to do what the United States just did today or yesterday by deporting people back to the home country where they face persecution and torture. This is absolutely something that we never knew would happen in our lifetime, but that's what we've experienced today. And again, this is a sad day for the United States, and this is a sad day for the world.
Can we have more information on the Cameroonians who have been sent back to their home country? Are they from the northwest, the southwest regions, from the far north, from the center? Can we have some information about these Cameroonians?
Yes, I do have information about them because it's an area of law in which I do practice in the United States. I'm not directly representing any of the people that were sent back to Cameroon, but I do just said about these Cameroonians that were sent back to Cameroon. Now, it's a little bit global because you have some that actually exhausted their legal processes within the legal system here in the United States, and there was nothing to be done again, and they had to be sent back. But that you're sending them back to Cameroon, that is the travesty right there. And there are some, back in the summer, they had to protest about injustice, the way they were being treated in detention centers here in the United States. And those are the ones that I'm so much concerned about, because you're coming to a beacon of freedom, which is the United States, and you exercise your right. You just want to step your foot in the United States, and you declare that you are suffering persecution from the country where you're coming from. You have the right to absolute protection, just as every other United States citizen. But the way these Cameroonians were treated, they were treated with abhorrence. They were treated with the most inhuman conditions, absolutely against international law, all the conventions that the United States is signatory to, and all the protocols that the United States is signatory to. This is not right. Again, you cannot blame these people, those Cameroonians that are sent back there. They were fleeing from a well-founded fear of persecution. They were summarily sent back to Cameroon. Why did that happen? It is something that we have to pursue. It has not yet ended. It is something we'll have to pursue, and we'll pursue to the end. Because some of these people, they actually passed their credible fear interview. They actually expressed that they were afraid to go back to their home. They had not seen a judge yet, or even if they had seen a judge in an immigration court, every legal honor was not fully exploited. They did not expose everything. So they shouldn't be sent back to Cameroon again the way they've done to these children yesterday.
Earlier, a group of Cameroonian asylum seekers who are also facing deportation accused the U.S. Immigration Department officials or officers of compelling them, pressurizing them to sign their deportation documents. What does the law say about this?
Let me explain to you, and for your listeners, the way the process works here in the United States, because I'm privy to. So when you come to the United States, you come at the border, which is what most of our compatriots did there. They express a fear of going back to their home country. They submit them to what is called a credible fear interview. Most of them, from what I've heard, they did pass the credible fear. And once you go through that particular hoop, the next step is for you to see an immigration judge to see if your credible fear can translate to a viable asylum claim in court. But that's where most of them did not get the opportunity, because they were subjected to indiscriminate, sort of rendition where they were in Texas, in Mexico, not being able to seek an immigration judge. Some of them decided to take a hunger strike in protest of the injustice that the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which is called ICE, exposed on these children, on these migrants. So when that happened, they summarily decided to say, okay, now that you are proving to be stubborn, which is not right in the first place, because they were expressing a First Amendment right that's due to every other Cameroonian here, every other U.S. citizen here in the United States. Because once you step foot again in the United States, you are accorded that freedom for you to express your mind, which is what they did. And rather than take them before the judge, they summarily send these children back to to Cameroon, where, to the best of my knowledge, I'm not trying to be prejudiced here, that's where they're fleeing from. And if I hear people saying that they will be treated as prodigal sons coming back, now, a prodigal son is somebody you gave something to go try to fend for themselves somewhere, and they went and squandered everything. These were not prodigal sons. These were children that were fleeing from your persecution. These were children that were fleeing from a war that you created. They were not, they left school, they didn't have jobs, they were trying to hustle around Cameroon, but you forced a war on them, and they decided to run away because you were trying to kill them or to persecute them. So they had a well-founded fear of persecution of leaving Cameroon. Now you're sending them, and when they come back, you're calling them prodigal sons. That's very abusive. That's something that whoever made that statement should absolutely withdraw it and apologize to these children coming back.
Some of the persons, Cameroonians facing deportation who spoke recently indicated that those who have arrived the country today are facing, some of them will be facing persecution and even death. What is their fate? Is it sealed already, or they have any other possibility of reversing the situation?
In my field, nothing is absolutely impossible, Mr. Babila. We can always walk through this, seamlessly walk through the law and see what can happen. No, going to happen, because if you illegally send somebody back to their home country where they will be persecuted, there is always recourse going through the legal system. If you're a refugee because you have a well-founded fear of persecution, you should be granted the right either through ICE or through the immigration court. This is what these people did not have, and we would explore all legal possibilities to see what we can do. we would follow up, and we would still follow up with the Southern Poverty Law Center and see what can be done to redress this situation. You know, it wasn't supposed to happen. There are some of them in that group that have exhausted their legal premises based on the law here in the United States. But there are some that were not even supposed to be on that flight to Cameroon because they had not seen a judge. Everything was still pending. But just because they expressed a First Amendment right that's equal to every American here in the United States, they decided to send them back to Cameroon.
Barrister Anineba Akufo-Innocent, an attorney and counselor at law in the United States of America, who is also a specialist in U.S. immigration law and a human rights defender. He was talking to the Inside in the 6 p.m. news on Équinoxe Television earlier this week. His Majesty King Michael, you are constantly in the United States of America, and you said earlier that you'll be constantly moving in between Cameroon and the U.S. with your businesses and so on. As somebody who is constantly visiting the U.S., working in the U.S., doing business in the U.S., and as a Cameroonian, what's your opinion about this decision by the United States to send back home Cameroonians who, among some of who are fleeing or who were fleeing from one or two things in their own home country and seeking asylum there?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Babila, for bringing that topic to daylight. I don't have the details of what really happened before they were repatriated back to Cameroon. But to the best of my knowledge, I know if you work out the percentage of those who were awarded the asylum to these 91 that have been repatriated, you will see that the majority of those who applied and who could justify the credible fear of what is happening in the country will be a little bit higher. You have to understand that there is war in Northwest and Southwest province. That we all agree. And so if you happen to leave the country, passing through very difficult and dangerous forests to get to the United States, you have to justify why you should be given asylum to stay and work in the United States. There is every mechanism for that process to go through, as the attorney was talking. I, sitting here, not being a specialist in that domain, I will not be doing anything good if I tell you that I really know what happened. But I think if you cannot justify your case, then the chances that you'll be awarded the asylum status are very slim.
From what the attorney and counselor at law, Barrister Anineba Akufo-Innocent, said, it can be deduced that there is some discrimination. There is some there are some acts that are not inconsistent with the law, the U.S. immigration law, as far as these Cameroonians are concerned. If you have been going to the U.S., you're working in the U.S., you're doing business there, have you experienced this kind of discrimination against blacks in general?
Mr. Babila, this idea of discrimination, I think if it started in the Bible, remember that all the angels are not equal. Now, as I told you, if you happen to get into the United States and justify why you want to be granted an asylum, the credible fear factor, for example, if you are from, say, Moyoka, say, Kwakwa, and you happen to pass through the airport to Latin America, cross very dangerous forests through Mexico and enter the U.S., you have a story to tell, because you saw it, you were part of it. And so the story will flow. And the chances that you'll be awarded asylum status is very high. But if you live from, say, Douala, Bafoussam, say Yaoundé, and you happen to find yourself amongst those who are coming from a region where there's trouble, how do you justify? And if you are sent back, I don't know. Again, it is it's an unfortunate situation, because I want to be very frank here. Those children, they had that vision of living the American dream that all of us were living today. But however, something happened along the line and they were sent back. I just pray that the authorities in Cameroon should take those children as somebody said, the lordship. They should be treated fairly, and if possible, make them to also have the Cameroonian dream. At least most of them are educated, they have degrees, they have certificates. Why not look for employment for them? There is no Cameroonian who is lazy. We are all hardworking people. And so it happened the way it happened. Not only Cameroonians were sent back, Nigerians were equally sent back. So when we say we discriminate, is it between whites and black, or between blacks and color skin, or where was the discrimination?
Against blacks, because the attorneys seem to be indicating that all the process that leads to the granting of asylum was not complete for some of them.
Remember that America is passing a very difficult time since the coming to power of President Trump. You remember, he has that policy of America first. That is him. And I think whatever happened, but we just have to take it. The good thing is that, you see, with the United States, no matter who is the president, you have 4 years to prove your worth. And if you cannot, you are voted out of office. That is the good thing, as compared to most of African countries, where elections are just, let me say, on paper. Effectively, the chances that the right process will be done are very slim.
Is Cameroon one of such examples?
I think I will tell you that when I say Africa, is Cameroon part of Africa? Answer the question.
You don't want to talk about Cameroon?
If Cameroon is part of Africa, then so be it.
All right, let's take a look at what the newspapers reported this week. Immaculate Fogwe compiled the press review for the Insight.
The Guardian Post. Corpse of dreaded Amber separatist General Ayeke paraded on the streets of Kumba after being killed in Libialem. Another edition of the Guardian Post says the Northwest and Southwest regions records the highest number of school attendance since 2017. Even big fight in Gokitunja and Bui divisions over House of Chiefs. The Advocate. Thousands left stranded as Bamenda Babaju Road breaks. The Guardian Post reports about Kamto's house arrest, which has forced lawyers of the MRC party to drag Minat, police and gendarmerie bosses to court. Another edition of the Guardian Post says civil servants, Ambazonian supporters among Cameroonians deported from the United States of America. The Advocate adds that the 33% tax on digital gadgets causes activists to cry foul. The Voice. The United States Embassy denounces rumors of a possible military intervention. The Post-Weekender. How greed, politics, mafia and tribalism are destroying Cameroon's football. The Herald Tribune. Prime Minister Joseph John Goute inaugurates 45.3 billion franc CFA nautical vessel.
Thank you, Immaculate Fogwe, for the press review. The Guardian Post newspaper indicates that supporters of the struggle to restore the independence of former British Southern Cameroons and escapee civil servants among those who were deported should those who are running away from trouble, because supporters of the secessionist struggle will definitely be facing persecution and even death, imprisonment, like some of the United States, some of the Cameroonians who are in the US who spoke recently indicated that some of them are facing persecution and even death.
So Babla, I sitting here, I can't tell you, I can't give you any justification why what you just cited will hold. I think I know that those who wanted to live the American dream and it was cut short, they were sent back to their country of origin, except we don't want to agree that something unfortunately is really happening in the Northwest and Southwest. Why do you want to persecute those children? Because most of them had nothing doing in Cameroon. They had to look for a way to go and live that dream that some of us, we are living. And it wasn't, they were not granted that status to stay in the US. They were sent back to their country of origin. They are all Cameroonians. I think to the best of my knowledge and the goodwill of the Cameroonian authorities will be to settle those Cameroonians because they have suffered a lot. Now, for the civil servants, I don't know whether there were any amongst those who were sent back. Now, you also mentioned Ambazonian supporters. How do you define an Ambazonian supporter? Is it by name, by look, by color, or by what? I don't know. We just know that
the issue is that their deportation.
Yes.
Is it not synonymous to dropping them into a lion's den, something like that?
Now, except I just want to believe that the Cameroonian authorities will do the right thing, because if they don't do the right thing, then they will just be holding credence to what those children have been crying about. Those advocates have been crying that those children are being sent back to the lion's den. So I just believe sincerely from the bottom of my heart that I think the authorities that be should receive those gentlemen and women as Cameroonians. After all, if you have a child and he excretes on your hand, will you cut the hand? No, you will take out the excretors and still welcome the child as the child.
That is not far from what Barrister Aneneba is kicking against. That is the fact that they are being received as prodigal sons. He does not agree with that.
Sure. You see, as I said, the American dream is a different dream. That is the only country in the world, Mr. Babla, that we are sitting here like this. If you have $100 in your pocket, I have $100 in my pocket, and somebody comes here and take us to the airport. We get to the plane. We land in the United States of America. Believe me, if we are hardworking, if we are honest, if we are sincere, within the next year, 1 year, we'll be living that dream. What matters there is you have to be hardworking, you have to be honest, you have to be sincere in whatever you are doing. If you want to go to school, there's no limit on what you can study. To become a doctor, to become what, there are many opportunities in the US to be something from nothing. And that's why you see, amongst those who were sent back, they have every reason to feel the way they are feeling now, because they have started.
Should they be treated as prodigal sons?
They should be treated as Cameroonians. They should be treated as Cameroonians who wanted to go out there and fend for themselves, because the opportunities here are limited. So if you can struggle and get out of the country and you happen to make it, most of the time you cannot underlook what the diasporans do for this country.
They
wanted to become part of the diasporan society.
All right. You're doing business in the United States of America. Is it easy to do business there?
If you want to do business in the US, you have to do it the right way. I have more than 600 Cameroonians, 600 employees working for me, Cameroonians and any other nationality. Do it the right way, pay your taxes, and my God, the sky is a limit. I will not sit here to tell you a lie that I am dreaming the American dream.
You're living the American
I'm living the American dream because I was very fortunate to do what I'm doing, and I am where I am.
Another person who is still dreaming the American dream may want to know what he needs, what he or she needs to be able to do or to live the American dream like you, to be able to do business there, to be able to carry on with their career there.
Mr. Babila, there are so many factors that can contribute. Okay. The academicians, those who live here, go there, happen to go to school, they graduate from universities, they have good jobs. You have medical doctors, you have every aspect of life, Cameroonians who are there working, doing good jobs. Now, those who want to do business, now when you get there, you have to carry out a survey to see what line of business you want to be involved. And once you go out there, you have the license, you have whatever it takes to start the business, you get going and just do the right thing. And nobody knows what will happen in the future. I mean, business is what you're trying to make profit, and if you do the right investment or whatever you do, and you are making the profit, that is it. There is no magic.
No, a middle-class Cameroonian who leaves Cameroon, who leaves the country to the United States with practically peanuts in the hands.
Yes.
Where should this kind of person start and how?
Now, before leaving Cameroon, what was his level of education? If you have the advanced level, you get to the United States, go to college, go and study. There are more. I cannot tell you the number of careers that there. You have doctors, you have pharmacists, you have nurses, you have I mean, that is the country in the world, the number one in the world, where you can do anything you want to do, so long as it is genuine and you make a living out of it. That is why they say you are living a dream. Because any other country in the world, you live, you get to the United States, any airport in the world, once you are a citizen of that country, you are regarded differently. Why? Because that country makes sure it defends its citizens. They don't play with that. And so when you get there and you happen to follow the educational channel, there's so many opportunities. You can take a loan and go to school. There are so many scholarships, there are so many grants. You go to school, you study. When you finish, you apply for a job. When you start working, this is where the catch is in the United States. When you go there, there are so many opportunities, credit opportunities, but make sure you live a life where your expense will be less than your revenue, so that you can save. If you go there and you say you are doing a job that pays $25, for example, you go and get a car that costs $50,000. You go and get a big house on mortgage that costs $500,000. You are making $2,000, $3,000 a month. Your mortgage, all your bills is worth $2,500. Are you living the American dream? I doubt. So there is no specific formula that any person will tell you that this is the way to go about it. But again, Mr. Babila, if you left Cameroon with what is happening in Cameroon, and you get there and you see the opportunities and you handle it well, and another factor, who picks you up at the airport? who is your counselor there, who guides you there, has a very important role to play. Who you be.
You need good guidelines.
It is very, very important. Because if you happen to go and meet somebody who is lazy, the chances that you will be lazy are very high. Because he will not give you any good advice. He will want you to be a victim as he was. That was not to your making. We happen to get there and you meet a hard-working person, a very trustworthy person, he will guide you.
All right. In a nutshell, we have to be hardworking everywhere.
Everywhere.
We have to be
hardworking,
including in the United States.
Exactly.
When you're not picked on the streets.
Hardworking and honest. Follow the rules. Follow the laws. America is land of law. You don't screw up with the laws. You can go there, you are doing certain things, you think that you are cheating the system. They are laughing at you. They know that you are cheating the system, but they have many other things which are more important than what you are doing. Now, when you get to a certain point, they said, okay, now it's time to get on you. Trust me, they will get you.
Right, we're going to take some interviews now, and when we come back, we'll talk about updates on the situation in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. Stay with us.
Kumbu has been a very, very, very growing town. Since the last 4 years, the crisis has dealt a severe blow on the economy, the social life, the educational system of the town.
Since the past 4 years, there was no school going on in Kumbu. Nothing was going on in Kumbu. They could have counted a number of people here.
Give them the strong head. When you talk something for picking, one for a year, it was doing on.
Most of our children have died. Others become pregnant premature.
There were a lot of attacks of individual, attacks of school property, of government property, and killing of people. In fact, so the activity was so intense.
For the past 4 years, nothing has actually happened in Estella. So we are very pleased that schools have resumed. When we look at the children, we feel very, very sorry because many of them have gone far backward.
We will agree with us that education is the best medium through which good morals, peace and national values can be cultivated.
I want to thank the bee and the military people. I did not have all my books, but thank them for giving me these books because now my books will be complete.
First thing I discovered was the blackboards. All of them are painted. And some classes, as school was resuming, we were like, what are we going to do that it is bushy? Now the goats, they were sleeping here. We are so happy and so grateful that everything is intact.
We have accepted the gift they have given to us this afternoon with sincere heart, and we promise that we will do our best. Let children enjoy what they have supplied to us.
It is also a very big signal to those who continue to fight in the state. You can never fight the state. The state will remain the state. That is a testimony that our army is a professional one. That our army is there to protect and to secure the population. will continue to highlight it here that the head of state gave the way out to all those fighters for them to surrender and to resume their normal activities. For all those who will continue to be stubborn, let the army do its work, and once more, congratulations to the force for honor.
With the spectrum of the coalition that we form we of the PAP gave our support, and we have been working as a team to see into it that we don't only bring political change in Cameroon, we are also concerned about the humanitarian situation of our brothers and sisters of the Northwest and Southwest that have been passing through distress for the past 4 years.
See when we see them, for this day we never see them before. 2 more today, electric you never share for that. If you want come small so, then take them. You want come small so, then take them. See we make we vex so to come out. Now this time we school don't go back. Maybe the work on my time, you don't confuse. Now for iron close to picking don't have assignment. How did they do assignment? I don't work for that house they all. Wonyamongo, Company, Mokunda, last town. Picking they did read inside candle. They did do assignment inside candle with the lamp and touch. The ones they were there for university where they say they do research. They do work out laptop or place for every place they'll charge laptop.
Now we're going to involve the people. Yes. So now the fear that we get because we don't even know who will come for you. Either kill you or eat it all your things done.
I'm talking in the capacity of a lawyer with full authority. University of Boya has no land certificate whatsoever, even on the land they are occupying.
There's a land title over this land. It's in my possession and the university has a copy. So anybody who claims to be coming here to sell up land is selling it at his own risk and it's a peril, even if he's President Biya, because there's a process.
Children learn by example. So when the head teachers put on this mask and the class teachers, the children too will follow and wear this mask.
We are just appealing the parents to bring the children to school and to make them be vaccinated.
When the idea of Kaneko came up, the then Ninepat, Paul Mutaze, set up a commission of about 5 or 6 experienced people to draw up a plan, to come up with a new name, decide what are the routes we want to do, what is the explanation, what is the content of our new airline. When he did it, somewhere along the line, this project was hijacked by an individual in the Ministry of Transport. And Mutaze, being the person he is, wasn't ready for a fight. He just said, okay, if that's what you think you need to do, I'll give up. They did it, but they did all the wrong things. And it was clear to everybody that that project wasn't going to work, except those who had a lot to benefit. And from that time to today, you do the calculation, the government has invested, they have poured money, they have made effort, and it is still not working. For now, all we are having are just adventurers. When the airline could not take off because of a problem of insurance, that is so elementary. The guy who went and decided that we will launch on this day should have a checklist. We should have asked, have we got aircraft? Have we got insurance? Have we got, and so on and so on and so on. Only then would he have said, yes, we've got everything, we can now launch.
Concerning the report or the cancellation of the flights that were scheduled to take place tomorrow. This cancellation, which is due to the fact that some administrative procedures related to the insurance coverage that was made by AXA, our partner, have not reached to its end.
As you know, the COVID-19 has caused us to start a new mode of teaching. That is to say, teaching where we teach by distance. And we are going to mix that also with face-to-face teaching. So in-person teaching and distance teaching. That is what we decided to do as a result of the lockdown in Cameroon. So we are, with distance education, the parents are going to have a hands-on on their children, trying to lead them in education. That is what we are going to do. It's important that all parents understand how this education will be done and how they can follow their children in making sure that they understand the distance and those courses that are being taught by distance.
I've seen for myself the usefulness of the equipment that the port has acquired, the dredger amongst others. It's going to help to propel the Douala port into a real center of activity in West Africa and in Central Africa. I think the port of Douala is modernizing itself with all the reforms in terms of security, in terms of logistics, in terms of transport, and it's been very interesting to see, and I'm going to report very positively to the President of the Republic that his reforms are being carried out here in Douala in the port.
What we are living today is the will of the head of state, President Paul Biya, who has a vision and has a vision about Cameroon emerging in 2035. And this vision has been translated by government policy, which says that there should be, through its paper for strategic growth and employment. And what we are living today is an example of strategic growth through development of the infrastructure. We are happy to have Cameroonians that can do things. Government policy to the management, and we are very proud and fortunate to have a management that can translate this policy into reality. And I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Cyrus Ngo and his team, which I've always called the Incredibles. Incredible because it's rare to find Cameroonians that can do things for themselves.
Interviews of the week. His Royal Highness King Michael, the Senior Divisional Officer of the Meme Division, Tundong Chamberlain, congratulates the military for having killed a pro-independence fighter. To him, that is an indication that the military is professional. What do you think about this?
Mr. Babla, I think if killing him will bring peace back to the Anglophone region, we salute it. But again, you call him Ayeke. Was he a Nigerian? Was he a Sierra Leonean? He was a Cameroonian. Now, I thought that the best way was to have catch him alive. Because if you are caught alive, so many information will be gathered from him, the act that he was committing in Libya. But again, as I said, what is happening in the Northwest and the Southwest is tragic. Tragic in the sense that these are hard-working Cameroonians who just wanted good governance, who wanted to run their own affairs, and the treatment or whatever is happening is very, very unfortunate. I think it is high time, especially now that places are a little bit calm, some good Cameroonians of good faith could start working upon a solution to this crisis. Because no matter what we say and do, those who are dying are Cameroonians. Whether it is our vibrant military, young boys and girls, or the so-called Ambazonian Defense Forces. They are all Cameroonians, trust me. And I think till politicians will learn to love their country, politicians will sit down on the table and look for a solution to what is happening in the Southwest and the Northwest. I don't think any of us, I and you, Mr. Babila, sitting here, have a solution. I don't think the military option is a solution. I don't think children not going to school is the solution. The solution lies in that table where all Cameroonians will sit there and agree in principles, the structure of Cameroon, the way forward of Cameroon, how we want Cameroon to be governed. Then I think everybody will be satisfied. The majority of Cameroonians will be satisfied to once again live together. Because in essence, Cameroon is owned by Cameroonians. Those living in Cameroon are Cameroonians. And we should learn to love each other as we love ourselves. Because not doing so is not the solution to the problem we have in Cameroon.
Loving each other as Cameroonians and loving the fatherland will pave the way forward. His Royal Highness King Michael, traditional leader, entrepreneur, CEO of Chariot Company Limited. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome, Mr. Babla.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for this edition of The Inside. Stay on Équinoxe Television.